Hi, my name is Courtney Wright. I'm 23 years old and I am the writer and director of In All My Wandering. So, number one, get to be home. And for me, my family lives far from home, so I get to be with my mom and my brother. Number two leads us to 8 cats. But also a big one for me is the biggest benefit for me was you can run on your own time. So if you're a night owl, like both myself and Nakonda are, then we can work from 12 to 4 and then sleep and be good about our day. But when you're on campus, when you're living like that, it's a bit risky because you have lectures the next day. I don't know, there's just more freedom in remote work for when you want to do the work and get it done in your own time.
So my question to you is, what were some of the challenges that you faced when writing the script? Did it come easy to you?
First of all, if you know me, my crew, and everyone else, writing does not come easy to me at all. Not a thing. This film was based on my personal experience of my decline in anxiety. So it was easy in writing that because I was writing my own story through Alula. So Alula represents some of the things I went through during lockdown and just how I saw my anxiety just skyrocket. And then the mind was easy to write because I have anxiety. So it's like me telling the audience exactly how I feel every day. So what my mind literally tells me every day and how it makes you feel. So when it comes to writing the characters, it was easy to reach in and find that place and just get an authentic vibe from both Alula and the mind. But then in saying that, when you get deep into script writing, especially when you're writing from experience, it's hard to write. It was a challenge, but it was a healing one and a good one, and one that I hope other people will love just as much as I do.
What was your inspiration for the character, the mind?
So the character, the mind, is quite literally making a mental illness a physical being or a person. So that was my thinking, is I'm going to make an illness that you can't see visible through making it an actual character in the film. And just by personifying an illness and showing the audience how intense someone's mind can be towards them, that was my inspiration, was just to show them how for some people their mind is literally their worst enemy.
What would you say makes your story effectively experimental?
The way we've told the story is very visual. I'm not too into dialogue, but for this film we use dialogue very differently. Drew never speaks really. Most of the dialogue is the mind, and that's on purpose. So the mind is taking over, the mind and anxiety is in control. Therefore, most of the dialogue went to Yolanda. And then there's some added secret dialogue things that we add into enhance it. I think it's experimental just in the way we're telling the story and how we're showing the audience anxiety. So how we chose to represent the illness, it's creates understanding, if that makes sense.
How was directing affected over remote filming limitations?
It was insane! Being a personal assistant, admin, and making schedules and just checking up on everybody. Goodness me, keeping up with 9 people. It was wild, but on the day, specifically during filming, it was super easy because we had prepared. The actresses had been prepped beforehand with a little video telling them about the scene, so they knew exactly what was going on. They had been prepped by Cine, so they knew exactly, they had their own shot list that they had to follow and tick off. So on the day, directing was super easy. If you watched me live, I sat back and I waited for footage and I was like, look good, look meh, let's do it again. So I enjoyed directing remotely.
Courtney, my question for you is fairly simple. Would you still do what you're studying for a living even if you didn't get paid for it?
Yes, but obviously I couldn't be doing it as a full-time job. So I would be hustling on the side, I guess. So dream scenario, things work out. And like, you know, we've got futures next year. But yeah, and I'm like, the company X Nahalo Creative will be expanding and such and all the big adulty things. So yes, this is what I want to be doing, and yes, I will continue to do it. And if I fail at some point and have to get another job because I'm not getting paid to film, that's just what I'll do, because I'm not leaving film. Like, I know this is where I'm meant to be.
How do you feel the audience will respond to our film?
I really hope to bring awareness through this film, not only for people with anxiety, but for people without anxiety. The goal is awareness and understanding, which leads to like education and wiseness amongst others, treating each other with kindness, you know? Very good.
So this film is not only going to be viewed by people with anxiety, it will also be viewed by people who don't suffer from anxiety. So I want to know, what is the emotional response that you are hoping to get from the audience, from those who suffer from anxiety and those who don't suffer from anxiety? What is the goal? What is the message that you're hoping they will take from this film?
People with anxiety, to some degree, I think everyone who struggles with anxiety will be able to connect to some truth of the film in some way. So yeah, for them, it's to show them they're not alone, to show them that it's real, because a lot of people speak about mental illness as if it is invisible, it isn't real. So for them, it's not only they're gonna feel like I'm not alone, but they're gonna like be able to see that, oh, you know, what I'm suffering from is real, does matter, and is affecting people specifically due to isolation, which is so important right now because we are all isolated, and it doesn't seem like mental health is at the top of the pandemic crisis list, but I think it is causing a lot of harm to people mentally. So for people without anxiety, it is for them to realize, recognize, understand that anxiety is real, that it is a mental illness, and how severe and completely numbing to your life anxiety can be. Speaking from personal experience, literally take over your entire life to the point where you're not living. You cannot put a foot out the door. So it's just awareness, education to create kinder people who don't feel alone, people who might, after this film, recognize anxiety in someone and maybe treat them with a little bit more understanding, careness, and even maybe recognize it in themselves or others around them, recognize it in their kids who are pressured to go to school during times like this with masks on. It's just about creating an awareness, like full round awareness, education, and just a kinder world. As cheesy as that sounds, that's me.